Sit toward the front of your chair with your feet on the floor. Bring your feet together. Press your feet on the floor lightly. And let your trunk begin to lift. Feel how the pressure of your feet on the floor can be transmitted up into your trunk, through your waist, through the side ribs, up underneath your collarbones. Bend your elbows, your hands are on the chair behind your hips. Bend your elbows and draw your shoulders down even as you lift your trunk up. And allow your neck to lengthen. Then, keeping all that, draw your head back on its axis slightly and see that your jaw is parallel to the floor. All of those actions are to be maintained at the same time. Bring awareness to your breath. Just notice it for several breaths. And then begin to be more purposeful with your breath, allowing it to slow down a little bit, become more even and smooth. Notice how the breath moves your ribs, and particularly your side ribs. As you inhale, those ribs move upward, and as you exhale, they move downward. You want to keep your posture as that happens. So maintaining your posture, notice how your ribs move when you breathe. Slow, steady breath. In the video I mentioned, the breath was one of the most important things. The class was on yoga for trauma, and we've all been going through trauma in many ways. And so these are simple ways to help us feel better, and yoga overall does that. Keep your breath going. So focus on the breath, focus on your posture, focus on the moment. Now, can you still maintain that? Carefully remove the support from your hands and arms and stretch your fingertips toward the floor. Lengthen up through the crown of your head. Draw your shoulders back a little bit and continue that breath awareness. Now revolve your arms. Revolve your arms all the way up into the shoulder socket. Stretch out your palms and fingers. Keep your shoulders down, draw your arms up as you inhale. Work that with your breath. Keep your elbows straight. Press your feet down again. Draw up through your trunk again and lift your shoulders up. Straighten your elbows, extend through your palms, and breathe. Now you feel it's a little more difficult to move those side ribs because they're stretched out. Now we're going to turn the palms toward the ceiling and the fingers toward one another. Ultimately, you may be able to touch your middle fingers together. But if you cannot straighten your elbows, just take your arms further apart rather than bend the elbows. Okay, and then press out through your palms and extend as you bring your arms down. Then put your hands in your lap and relax a moment. That seems like not much work until you've done it for a couple of 3 or 4 minutes, right? This is a really nice way to bring your mind back into the moment. All of these yoga poses do that. I mean, they're not normal. When we have to learn something new, we need to pay attention. That takes our mind into the moment. Another wonderful way how yoga helps us. Excuse me. This time, if you have trouble straightening your elbows, a strap is the answer. So you can take your strap and hold it in front of you until your forearms are parallel and shoulder width. Then put that back in your lap for a moment, relax it, and take your awareness back to your feet, up through the trunk. Should be a better path this time, a little easier to find, up through the crown of your head. Keep that. Now, when we take our arms forward, there's a tendency to roll the shoulders forward, so don't do that. Keep your shoulders drawn back and take your arms forward, and that right away causes you to pull on the belt. You feel that? Keep that, keep all that posture going. Pivot at your shoulder, take your arms up, keep pulling the belt apart, and that's going to help keep your elbows straight. Take an inhale, draw your awareness from your feet up through your body. Lift your shoulders up, look up. And as you exhale, soften your ribs and continue the breath. And then on your next exhale, keep the arms extended, keep the body lifting as you come out of the pose. And rest your hands in your lap. One of the things that's important to develop is coming out of a pose with as much attention as you used going into the pose. I know when I first started yoga, when the teacher said, okay, come out, exhale, come out of the pose, I would just collapse. Thank goodness it's over. And so you develop some self-discipline in that way and more neuromuscular skill, okay? It's a good deal. All right, we're done with our strap for the moment, so you can put it aside. I'm gonna scoot back in the chair a bit. The further back in the chair you are, the easier it will be to lift your legs. Remember, however, that our back does not touch the chair. We are developing these trunk muscles to support us. Okay, so scoot back in the chair until it depends on your ability altogether. This can be done sitting right on the front edge of the chair, but I promise you this is a whole lot harder in all different kind of places. The quad just goes grips and but it's available to you if you want to do that. If you want to scoot all the way back to the back of your knee, and then that allows you to keep your posture, do that. So make a couple of experiments to see what works best for you. The main thing is to lift your leg and keep this posture. Okay, so now we're ready to go. We're going to sit tall, hands on the back of the chair, but not the back of your body, on the back of the chair. We're going to sit tall. This will be your right leg. Take an inhale. As you exhale, lift your right leg. Pull the toes back towards you and push the heel forward. Straighten your knee, lift your trunk, shoulders and head back, and breathe. Now draw the heel back and push the toes forward. Keep the legs straight, everything else remains. Pull the toes back, much as you can. Then press the toes forward, heel back. Again, toes back, heel forward. Keep your posture, keep your breath, heel back, toes forward. Toes back, heel forward, stretch that knee, don't let the leg droop. Mine was drooping. Heel back, toes forward, and heel forward, toes back. Now then, keep your posture, come out of that pose, maintaining it, and then take a moment and relax. We're working those postural muscles quite a bit today. And when we're under stress and things are as they usually are, it shows up in our body. So we're paying attention to our posture here for a little bit. Okay, let's go again. Hands by the back of the chair. Elbows back, shoulders back. Sit up tall, press your feet down. Long neck. It's going to be your left leg. So you're going to press the right foot down, lift that left leg up, and press the heel out and pull the toes toward you. Maintain a nice steady breath. Then heel back, toes forward. And heel forward, toes back. And heel back, toes forward. Heel forward, toes back. Heel back, toes forward. Heel forward, toes back. Last one. Heel back, toes forward, and heel forward, toes back. And then bring your leg down, maintain your posture. Hands to your lap, and then relax. Nice, steady breath, purposeful breath. All right, now scoot just a little further forward in the chair. We're going to draw our right leg up. Hold behind your knee, pull up, and pull your heel toward you. Make sure that the foot on the floor is under the knee. Press on that left foot. Lift yourself up, lift up through your trunk, shoulders back, elbows down, neck long. Let the hip get used to what you're asking so you don't rush it. When the hip quiets down, if the hip quiets down for you, then you're going to work your foot closer, your leg closer to your hip. If your hip doesn't quiet down, then you sit tall and just be with that. It's fine. Everybody, when I started yoga, my knee was up in my armpit, so I completely understand. It's a practice, and we learn as we go. Okay, so sit up tall. Pull, if you can, pull your toes back towards you a little bit, and that keeps the stretch all the way through the leg. It lets it move in through the shin. And breathe. Sit tall, shoulders down. Breathe. And slowly release that. Scoot your foot out. Hold behind that knee to take the foot down. And sit tall and take a breath. Then we're going to take that left leg up, reach behind the knee, pull the foot towards your hip. Don't be aggressive. Go till you get some resistance and sit tall and be patient for a moment so the hip has time to adjust. If you have a very flexible hip, that may not be necessary, but most of us need to. And when the hip, that sensation in your hip, if it begins to quiet down, then you can see, can you bring your foot closer to your hip? Pressure on the thigh can also help that leg go down and it can help you lift your trunk. Breathe. When we practice yoga, one of the things we learn is to tolerate sensation that sometimes borders on discomfort. It really depends on your attitude and what you call a thing. And so I'm going to encourage you to think about it as sensation. And then release that. Scoot the foot out. Use your hand to release it down. I'm going to get up real quick and switch the lights on. I look kind of dark to me. I'm going to see if this helps. A little bit. Yeah. Okay. So let's repeat that. We're working these big hip muscles, and we're challenging ourselves not to give into them. All right, so keep your trunk, keep your posture, press the floor with your feet, regain your seated posture, reach behind that right knee, pull it up, pull it in, and as you're able, pull it back towards your hip. You might have a little more leeway this time than you did last time. Press your left foot on the floor, lift your trunk, shoulders back and down, head back. Breathe and press that thigh down. Now, if you're having all the fun you want to right now in your hip, you stick with that. If your hip has quieted down and you want to have more excitement, then take an inhale, press the floor with your foot, lift your trunk, and extend your trunk forward, maintaining the length in the front of your trunk. What normally happens is we want to shorten in the front, round our back. Keep your chest lifted, shoulders back, and lean forward, and you should get some more excitement in your hip right away. And breathe. Then sit up. Release that leg down, help it down. Sit for a moment, take a breath. Then lift the other one up. Draw the heel in. Help that thigh go down. Mind your breath. If your hip has quieted down and you can do more, take an inhale and lift up through your trunk, and as you exhale, extend forward. Maintaining the length of your trunk. Keep your breath slow and steady. Work where you can work. Do what you can do. Always challenge yourself a little bit so you can progress. And then come up. Sit tall for a moment now. Press your both feet down. Lift up. Lengthen up through your waist. Up through the side ribs. Shoulders back. Elbows feel heavy. Head back. See if you are experiencing this seated position differently than you did when we began class. Just notice. And then we're going to scoot forward, 1 foot forward, 1 foot back. We're going to stand up and come to put our chairs out so we can use them, and still put your chair so you can see the screen. I'm putting mine so you can see me better, but you put yours where you can see. We're going to stand in mountain pose, Tadasana. So stretch your toes forward and back, the heels back, toes forward. And then draw up through your legs, tighten your kneecaps up, draw them up, draw your tailbone forward, pubic bone, abdomen up, lengthen through your waist. Let that support your side ribs. Let your shoulders rest on the lift of the trunk. Moving back and down, firm the arms, lengthen the neck, head in line, take it slightly back on its axis, and breathe. Notice the breath now, how it feels different if you're standing. So find the fullness of that breath in your side ribs. Maintain your stability. We're going to bring the arms up in front of us, extended, parallel, extend out through your fingertips. Feel the arms pivot right there in the shoulder. And notice if it makes your posture adjust. No. Keep your posture rock steady and bring your arms back against that firmness. And then stretch up through your shoulders, lengthen your trunk, tailbone in, abdomen up, legs strong, and breathe. Feel the breath in the side ribs. Palms to the ceiling, fingers toward one another. Stretch those elbows up and out. Exhale down. Stand for just another couple of breaths. All right, then we're gonna have our downward dog on the chair. The heel of the hand is on the chair and the fingers stretch forward. Bend your knees, really crouch down, bend your knees, and slowly creep your feet back. Keeping your feet pretty much under your hips. Stretch your fingers forward and stretch your hips backward. Draw your abdomen up. Feel that extension. Then press your feet on the floor. Lift your hips up and back. Extend your fingertips forward and breathe. Look at the chair, the legs of the chair, perhaps, and breathe. This gets your upper back down. Breathe. Then lift your shoulders up, bend your knees, and walk in. Get your feet under you. Get yourself over your feet. Stand tall. Tadasana again. Does this Tadasana feel different than the last one? Breathe. One more of these. Heel of the hand on the back of the chair. Step back. Now, if you're more flexible, if you're stronger, you can turn your chair around. This is not for everybody. This is for people who want a little bit more. Turn your chair around and put your hands on the seat of your chair. You could also put your hands on the floor if you're able to do that. But I'm going to encourage you, don't do it just because you can. Sometimes it's good to do things a little softer because you can work deeper. Okay, so back we go. Back to the hips, stretch those arms, stretch the armpit. You could take your hips slightly side to side, move your hips over to the right side, and the left ribs will stretch. Move your hips over to the left side and the right ribs will stretch. Move your hips to the middle. Now here I'm going to say come up a little bit and then re-stretch both sides equally with your knees well bent. Then keep that and begin to draw your knees back and up. Press your feet down. Extend, abdomen up. Look at the chair. Maybe if you've got your hands lower down, maybe you'll get to see the legs of the chair, the feet. All right, bend your knees, walk in, stand up. Wow, this is such a good pose. Feet under you, lift up, back to Tadasana mountain pose. This back and forth and coming in and out of mountain pose reminds us that even in after challenging moments, let's say, we can return to home base. Tadasana is home base in yoga. All right, let's release that. Everybody can work with their chair in the same direction this way. So we're going to stand so that the chair is close enough to us that we can easily touch it with our fingertips without reaching. When we practice, this is warrior one. Yeah, it is warrior. When we practice this pose, we want our trunk to remain in the same position it is now, in this Tadasana position, as we challenge that ability by making our legs work pretty hard. So always know that what is from the bottom of your pelvis to the top of your head is the number one important thing to maintain. So your right foot is going to step way under the chair. Lean over and take your left foot as far back as you can get it. And then draw your trunk up. You can bend your back knee right now so that it's easier to get your trunk up, shoulders down, head in line. Recreate that strong, steady breath. And once you've gotten yourself composed and focused, then you challenge. You begin to stretch the left heel toward the floor, keeping your trunk upright, making your right leg stronger. Tighten up your right knee, draw your tailbone forward, abdomen up, shoulders back, head back, and breathe. Now, if you want to have a little more fun, begin to bend your right knee. Tighten up the glute on the left side. Keep your hips squared up to the back of the chair. Trunk lifting. Maintain the Tadasana posture as you bend the knee. So bending the knee is at least equal importance to maintaining the posture. And breathe. And come up. Straight legs again, both legs straight, tailbone in, work that pelvis. And then bend your knees, lean forward, step in, stand up tall. Stand up so that the chair is very close to the thigh. And find that steadiness. And what you may notice is that you're not quite steady because you just worked one side and you didn't work the other. Good to know. Let's do the other side. So now your left foot goes forwards. Take that right foot as far back as you can. Knees can be bent right now. Draw your hips up under you. Find that Tadasana action in your trunk. Find that big full breath that we've been working with. Then begin to stretch the back heel toward the floor. That will straighten the front knee to some extent. When you've reached your maximum on the back leg, tighten the front leg more. So that will help your balance. Using both legs. Draw the tailbone in, abdomen up, shoulders back. Maintain all of that and begin to bend your left knee. Tighten up the glute on the right side. Imagine you can just sit down on that leg, the back leg. Maintain the posture. Keep a steady breath. And then come up. Lean forward, push that back leg in. Stand in Tadasana. Lengthen your neck, shoulders back and down. We're going to repeat this one. So right leg forward, lean forward, stretch way back with the left. Get your posture. Stretch the back heel down. Tighten up the knee of the right leg so that you can find your balance. People with more experience, strong balance, can do this pose with their arms out to the side. This is called Vimanasana. Bending your knee. Keep the balance. Hold the chair. Do what is appropriate for you to do. But not the easiest thing. It's easier for me to hold a chair than to hold my arms to the side. And breathe. Then come up. Lean forward, hold the chair, pull the back leg in, stand tall. Now then, left leg forward, right leg way back. Knees are soft at first, draw your hips under you, get your posture. Use these pelvic hip muscles to support and help you find your center. Then begin to challenge that by taking the right heel toward the floor. Straighten up that left knee, making that strong as well. Tighten the hip, the glute on the right side of it, and begin to bend that left knee. Stretch the right heel to the floor. Lift your trunk. Again, you can take your arms to the side. Lift your chest and breathe. A little shaking is always okay, as long as you're safe. Bring your hands back. Straighten your legs, lean forward, stand up. Tadasana again. Big breaths. Now notice if your posture is a little more balanced than when we had only done it on one side. Big breaths. I need some big ones at least. All right. Now then we're going to go to the floor. So, if you want help getting on the floor, remember you can put your hands on the chair, use your arms to support you as you go down. Then one hand at a time on the floor, and then come to one hip, and then stretch your legs out. We're going to sit in Dandasana. I'm trying to get all me in the picture. So let me turn to the side and show. If you can't straighten your back, if your back is rounded, your chest is, or maybe it's the other end of the thing, your chest is up and all, but you can't get your knees down and do both things, right? Then you're going to use your blanket. It's going to be folded up to the size you see here. You sit on your blanket. Get yourself nice and tall. This is going to help you to stretch your legs. It may or may not help you to stretch your, lift your back. So start there, hands right by your hips, trunk lifted, shoulders down, legs straight. All of the same criteria that we established in the standing pose, mountain pose, Tadasana, applies here. So this is some work. and breathe. If you can, scoot, so drag your hips forward over the edge of the blanket until your whole leg is on the floor. Then if you have that flexibility in your legs, it will help you sit up tall and maintain the straight, strong leg. And breathe. Okay, then relax from that. I'm gonna change my orientation. You don't need to. So now, I'm gonna do Upavishta Konasana. So open angle pose, seated open angle pose. So from that Dandasana, that Dandasana means rod or staff pose, because your legs and your trunk are supposed to be straight, is a good staff. Okay, that is still the criteria. And you can, if again, your knees bend, you can use the blanket as we did before. Either sitting up on it or sitting on it and then dragging the hips forward to the floor, okay? Your legs go as far apart as you can comfortably take them. So this shouldn't be agony at this point. It could be a little challenging, but doable. Adjust the hip flesh back with your hands. Put your fingertips right behind your hips. Press the floor with your fingertips so it's this little claw action. Fingers point forward. Stretch your heels out. Make sure that your toes go straight up. Very few people get that exactly right. Many of us, that would be me. My toes would be so much happier over back toward the floor. And there are some people whose toes would be so much happier forward towards the floor. So we all have our work to do. So stretch out through your heels. Make your toes and your knees face the ceiling. That's some work for me. Press those legs down. Feel your sit bones on the floor or the blanket. Draw your trunk up. Elbows are bent. Chest is really open. Can you feel that? Breathe into the openness of your chest. Feel the side ribs move. If things are going pretty well for you and you could use some more stretch there, you can bring your hands one hand at a time. Lose the lift of your trunk when you change your position. Make your legs support you. You can bring your hands forward and use those fingertips to pull your hands toward you without them moving. It's the action of that. Keep your hands shoulder width so you have plenty of room. Legs press down, trunk lifts up, lengthen in your waist, shoulders back, and breathe. If there's more for you, you can always bend your elbows and work your way down until you're done, okay? Bend your knees, draw your feet in, put your feet together, and pull them toward you. Your knees will probably go up. Don't worry. Take your hands behind, push your hips forward. Use your hands behind. This time I'm not using fingertips because I need a little more power. So I'm using my fingers, not my hand flat. I'm using my whole fingers and I'm resting right here on this joint in my hand so that I have some strength to push my chest up and my shoulders back. And I haven't done one thing about my legs yet. I just want to get that major component set. And once I've set that posture, then I'm going to challenge my ability to hold that posture and draw my knees toward the floor. Well, that went pretty well for me today. It doesn't always go that well. I'm very happy. And breathe. So that's a muscular action. It's a lot of work. And breathe. And then slowly release it. Hold your outer knees. Bring them in. You can interlock your fingers in front of your knees. Walk your feet close to your hips. Fingers are interlocked across your shins. Now roll your shoulders back and down. Pull really firmly. Pull your trunk toward your legs and lift your chest up. The pose we just did has a strong action on the back to push it backward. So this is a bit of a back bending action. So draw your chest up, look up, shoulders down, and breathe. You'll feel the pressure on your belly. That will help the breath move upward in your chest. Feel that. All right, then stretch your legs out one at a time. Sit in Dandasana for just a moment now. Revisit the first pose in the session, or in the seated session. Okay, feet parallel, stretch your toes. Toes to the ceiling. Hands by your hip fingertips again. Shoulders back, elbows down, crown of the head to the ceiling. Breathe. And then slowly release that. Now we're going to lay down. Have your strap nearby. If you notice that my blanket now is folded twice from what we typically headstand size. This is the one fold, and this is the shorter fold. So I want, if you need something for the back of your head, then, if you're on a real hard surface or something like that, have a little bit of padding. It's not needed for the pose. What I don't want is your head pushed up too high, because we want to lengthen the back of the neck. Turns out, shouldn't surprise anyone, that we all hold a lot of tension here at the back of the neck. The bottom of your skull is called the occipital ridge. So at the bottom of that ridge is where we hold a lot of tension. So we don't want to tighten there. As you lay down, why waste a moment? You can pull yourself down, draw your knees up to your chest, and just take a moment. Now hold the back of your thighs and just stretch your legs straight up. Spread out your toes, tighten up your knees. How straight are they? You can see them, so you can decide. One way to help you learn to straighten your legs better is to use a wall. I have a wall here. It's one reason I set up here today. You can turn yourself, I'm just demonstrating, don't do anything. You keep doing that. You can bend your knees down, but you can move yourself towards a wall, lay on the floor, put your heels on the wall. You then can press the wall and stretch your legs straighter. The abdomen will go down and so forth. You can do that one leg at a time in a doorway. So these are some easy ways you can practice at home. All right, now take your strap in your right hand. Your knees can be bent or straight, depending on your ability. If you practiced with me and you've done this with your legs straight, go ahead and do that. If that diminishes your pose, don't do that. We want to keep our trunk the same orientation as we did standing and sitting. So pay attention to that for just a moment. When I lay down without any attention, my tailbone goes up and my low back goes down. Yours may be different than that, but my point is it's not straight without some effort from me, some attention from me. And so you find if your back is way up, then maybe move your shoulders, lift up and move your shoulders a little towards your head, dig your shoulders into the floor and lengthen your trunk that way. Everyone can try that. It feels really nice. The low back should be very close to the floor or close to the floor, but it really depends upon the side, the shape of our backside. Okay, and we're all different there. So one of the disadvantages of video is that I can't come and look at each of you. So you have to discern. You can take your hand and put it under your low back. And for me, it's a bit of a snug fit, but my back is not on the floor. If you can drop a little toy truck under there, try to lengthen it, okay? That's really good action all the time without yoga class or whatever. It's really good for your back. So another way to look at it is the bowl of your pelvis is level. So between the two hip bones and the pubic bone and the navel, if it was full of chicken noodle soup, you wouldn't spill any. If you collapse one way or another, you would spill, right? So that's another way. You can put your hand on your belly and play with those two opposites, pressing your low back down and the pubic bone up. You spill all that soup right on yourself. And if you arch your back and let the pubic bone go down, you would spill all on the floor. So let's keep all of our soup in the bowl, making the bowl of your pelvis level. It's another good thing on your own. Now check your shoulder blades, see that they're flat on the floor after our fooling around. So if you're accustomed to straightening your leg, go ahead and do that. You can straighten your left leg. If that's more challenging for you, it's too much of a difference, just keep your knees bent. That's perfectly fine. We're going to use the strap. I'm going to bend the right knee toward the chest. Put the strap on the foot. Hold the strap each end. Stretch that leg to the ceiling and get the knee straight. You want the leg perpendicular to the floor and the leg straight. So can you imagine how it would help you if you put your body in a doorway so that the right leg was along the side of the door and the left leg was free to either be bent or stretched out on the floor. So that's a good way to practice. This is for practice for all of us. Okay, shoulders down, legs stretched. Okay. Now, let's hold the belt in the right hand, close to the foot as you can reach, and take that leg toward the right. Now, the body has to stay in the posture. So think about rolling your hip to the left, pressing down your right and left shoulder for stability,
And I will tell you, this is a little bit more challenging with your knee bent. With your legs straight, you have a little bit more weight to help hold the hip down. So know that if you're having a little trouble with the hip at this point, but it's the best you can do, that will improve when you're able to stretch your leg out. Bring your leg back up. Now, you're going to put the belt in your left hand. Again, as close to your foot as you can. Put the right arm on the floor, palm up. We're going to keep this right hip down and pull the leg to the left. It doesn't take much. And you'll notice some days are very different than others. And breathe. It's not about how far you go, it's about going until you get a strong sensation down the whole side, outside of your leg. And keep your posture, keep that hip down, and breathe. It's right. And bring it back up. You can release your foot, bend your knee, put that foot on the floor, and rest for a moment. You can bend both knees to rest. Then stretch out if you're going to stretch it out, stretch out your right leg. And then bring that left knee up to the chest. Shoulders relax down, throat is relaxed. Put the belt on your foot. Hold the belt in two hands. Stretch that leg up straight. Have the belt near the toes, on the foot, near the toes, where the toes attach to your foot. Press the shoulder blades into the floor. Press your legs straight, perpendicular to the floor. If that's easy with your knee bent, go ahead and stretch your leg out on the floor. The leg that's stretched on the floor has an active role to play. Open your chest and breathe. Then hold the belt in your left hand, close to the foot as you can. You want to keep your whole trunk level. Press that left shoulder on the floor. Lift up the ribs on that side. Keep your belly level. And take your leg to the side as you can. Keep your right foot in Tadasana, toes face the ceiling. And breathe. Bring your leg back up. Put the belt in your right hand, sorry. Keep the left hip on the floor. You're going to take that foot toward the left. Keep the hip on the floor, the legs straight, chest lifted. It should be exciting all the way down your leg. You get to choose how exciting it is, but get some excitement there. You'll be better for it. And breathe. There it is. I just noticed that I had allowed, because I'm thinking about you more than me, I had allowed my foot to go down away from my chest a little bit, and I wasn't getting that stretch. So if you're not experiencing the stretch, pull your foot a little higher. All right, bring it back. Bend your knee. Release the belt. We're through with the belt. Put both feet on the floor. Tuck your shoulder blades underneath you. At this point, if you're wearing glasses, take them off. Put them someplace safe. Take your arms down to the side, palms up. This is Shavasana. Now, at this point, if you feel you need a little bit of extra support under your head, you may do that. If your chin is up very high, or if your neck pains you. But before we get too far, I'm going to ask that you take your hands, spread out your fingers, so that your thumbs catch the bottom of your skull, right at the top of your neck. You may be able to rub along that little ridge and feel where the muscles attach, and that what you're doing by rubbing there firmly relieves some tension. So I want you to use your hands to just gently and slightly lift your head off the floor, lengthen your neck. Your chin goes down just a little bit, but your face is still parallel to the floor. You can create this traction for yourself, and the pressure on the side of your head is also a plus. Once you've placed your head, then take your arms down, shoulder blades on the floor. Adjust and roll through up and down your low back a couple of times, pressing the low back down, arching it up a little bit, just gently moving with your breath until you find a neutral spot. If you're more comfortable with your knees bent, you can leave them there. It'll be more comfortable and more restful if you let your knees lean against one another. You may need to take your feet out a little bit for that to happen. Classically, you stretch your legs out on the floor. See what that does to your lumbar. Adjust. Work with your shoulders. Get your whole back settled onto the floor. Exhale and relax. Let everything go. We're just going to have 1 minute. So hurry up and relax, right? It's a good skill. Exhaling, draw your eyes back into the sockets. Inhale. Soften your body. Let it fill with that breath and that new vitality. As you exhale, allow your eyes not only to sink in, but move apart from one another. As you inhale, open yourself up to that new vitality. As you exhale, move your eyes further out, even like you were wearing headphones or something on your temples. Mr. Iyengar described that as cow's eyes, because most animals' eyes are wide apart. So imagine that your eyes are wide apart and back in your head. Relax your jaw and your tongue. On your next exhale, really settle into your body, releasing, 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 releasing as you exhale. Maintain that relaxation as you inhale. Exhale, relax even. Keep that slow, steady breath for 2 more breaths. Make them count. Let them move through you, cleaning and rejuvenating you. And then slowly begin to move your fingers and toes and your wrists and ankles, and bend your elbows one at a time. Bend your knees. Stretch your arms along the floor overhead. You can stretch one arm, one shoulder at a time. Move your shoulders a little bit. You can rock your knees. Don't go too far. Don't make it an exercise. Just create gentle movement. And then when you're ready, you're going to roll your knees over to your right side. Take your left hand in front of your chest. You can rest your head on your blanket or on your arm. Rest there for just a moment, taking nice, steady breaths and feeling so grateful to your body, to your mind for paying attention and giving you some good, healthy time for yourself. Roll your chest forward, push yourself up to sitting. Sit in any comfortable position.
and sit tall. Use your hands behind you. Do what you need to do to find a nice lifted posture. Join your palms in the center of your chest, lifting that skin, shoulders go down, lengthening your neck. Observe your posture for a moment. On your next inhale, lift your chest up and maintain that lift as you bow your head. Keep a steady breath going and take a moment to be grateful for all the blessings of your life. Namaste.